Hi PMA, it's Miss Ginny, and I have a secret to tell you. For the first time ever, you guys are in my house. That's crazy. That's right, you are in the teacher's house. So welcome to my home. I'm filming in my home because, like you guys, I'm staying home to be safe and healthy. And when I got home today, I realized something. I realized that I don't have a lot of clocks that look like this in my house. In fact, I have no clocks that look like this in my house. When I am going to tell the time, you guys know at school I always had my purple watch on to tell what time it was, or I check my phone to tell what time it is, okay? And when I checked my phone just now, it said this on it. 8:30, okay? When we write time like this is called the digital time, okay? When we look at clocks that have hands, like this one, this is called an analog clock. I don't have any analog clocks in my house. I only have digital clocks. So families, we've been working in our classroom on telling time on analog clocks. We have some students who are telling time to the hour and the half hour, some students who are telling time to the quarter hour, some students who are telling time to the 5 minutes, some students who are telling time to the minute. Because we're a mixed age classroom, we have lots of people working on lots of different things, and it's been a little tricky to try and figure out what math lessons we can work on. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you guys how to make your own paper analog clocks. And this could be a really cool way for you to practice telling time throughout the day. And then tomorrow, we're going to kind of dive into more of a project where you can tell time throughout the day using an analog clock, okay? So for this lesson, you are going to want some notebook pages, okay? In addition to your notebook, you're going to want either a pen or a pencil, depending on what you've got available. It would also be really nice, though you don't need it, but it would be really nice if you had scissors and either a crayon or a marker. I'm going to be using my red crayon today. Orange crayon. And then the most important thing that you're going to want is a circular object that you can trace, that is big enough that you can write inside of it, but that it's not so big it won't fit on your notebook paper. So let me give you some examples. I have a can of beans that fits on my notebook, so that's a good choice, okay? However, it is a little bit small, so if you can find something bigger, that's great. Like I have a canister of salt. It's a little bit bigger, but it still fits on my notebook. And then I actually found this bowl that's perfect because it still fits on the surface of my notebook, but it's really big and gives me room to write, okay? So, notebook, pen or pencil, circular object, those are the things you must have, and then crayon and scissors, those are the things that would be helpful. I'm going to give you a second to pause the video, but I'm going to keep recording. So when you get back, we'll tell you the next step, okay? Okay, so now that you've gathered your materials, what you're going to do is you're going to take the circular object that you chose and you're going to place it onto your notebook, okay? Then you're going to take your pen or your pencil and you're going to trace around the circle. So it's going to look like this for me. I'm putting my pencil down. I'm tracing around the circular object. Okay. And it creates a circle that looks like this. Okay. This is where if you have scissors, it's going to be helpful. Because what I'm going to encourage you to do if you can is to actually cut out this circle so that you can fold it to help you make your clock a little more accurately, okay? So I'm ripping out my notebook paper. I'm gonna start cutting out my circle. Cutting along the line the best I can. Families, this is something your kiddo, if you're noticing you're having a hard time with this would be a great activity to practice just during like some quiet arts and crafts time, okay? You could cut out like as many of these as you have paper to make because we're going to do a bunch of really cool stuff with clocks this week. Okay, so I've got my circle. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it in half as perfectly as I can. So I'm I'm going to take one side over to match the other really, really nicely. Then I'm going to put it down flat and press it. Okay. Got my half circle. Next, I'm going to take that circle. I'm actually going to fold it in half again to turn it into a quarter circle or a fourth of a circle. Okay, and then I'm going to lay it down flat. Press it down. Okay. Next, you're going to go ahead and unfold your circle. And what you're going to notice are that these fold lines are going to help you to make the numbers on your clock so that they're a little more equally spaced. Let me show you what I mean. On this top one, I'm going to draw my 12 because the 12 is at the top of an analog clock. Got it? Okay. Now, if you come around this direction, this is called clockwise. And at this next fold line, that's where you're going to put your 3. Good? Okay. Put your finger on the 3. Keep tracing clockwise around the circle. And at the bottom, you're going to put a 6 because that's the number at the bottom of the clock. Okay. You with me so far? So you've got 12. Go clockwise to the first fold line is 3. Clockwise to the next fold line is 6. And then if you continue going clockwise, this last fold line will be a 9. Okay. All right. Now, these are not the only numbers on the clock though, right? Over here, if we start again at the 12, we need 1 and 2. Okay, so that is nowhere near perfect. I think my 1 is too far away from the 12, but I did my best. We're going to get lots of chance to practice this. It's all good, okay? So keep going clockwise around from the 3. You're going to need a 4 and a 5 in between. So we've got 3. You'll need 4, 5, 6. Good? Okay. And then if I keep going clockwise around, I'm going to need to fit a 7 and an 8 before the 9. Looks pretty good. Okay, so from my 9 to my 12, I'm going to need to fit a 10 and an 11. Okay. All right, so voila, here is my clock. All right. Now this is where it can be really helpful. Pause. I'm not going to do the crayon yet. I'm just kidding. So in the orange room, we have a chant that helps us to remember that there are 2 hands on a clock. And the hour hand is short, short, short. The minute hand is long. Okay? So if my hour hand is short and it goes around the clock, it's pointing to the hours. Pointing at the top, my short hour hand just counts the hours like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Those are the numbers that the short hour hand points to. But we know that the hour hand is short, short, short. The minute hand is long, and it counts by 5s. Okay? So now I want you to get out your crayon. We're going to use our crayons to label our piece of paper, just like the clocks at school, counting our minutes by 5. Okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start it by the 12, and I'm going to write the O clock, which is the double 0 that looks like this. Okay? You see that? That double 0 means o'clock. Okay? When the long minute hand is pointing up towards the 12, the long minute hand is actually saying o'clock. When the long minute hand points to the 1, if I count by 5s, the next number is going to be 5. So what I'm going to do, pause for just a second, wait till you see mine. I'm going to put that colon, and then I'm going to put 05, because when the long minute hand points to the 1, it's actually saying 05. Okay? From here it gets easier. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, and then back to the 12 where it says o'clock. because there are 60 minutes in an hour, but when it gets back to the top, it's saying o'clock. All right. So I'm going to continue labeling my minutes like this. Underneath the 2, I'm writing 10 because I'm counting by 5s. 5, 10. Next will be 15. And then 20. Okay. So are you guys with me? And then we're going to do 25, 30. Okay. 35, 40. Good. Okay, keep going. 45, 50, 55. All right, cool. In the last part of this lesson, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make some hands for our clock. Now, if you don't have scissors, this next part is going to be pretty tricky, but I'm sure you guys are really creative and you can come up with something, okay? But if you've got scissors and if you've got that same color crayon, use the same color so you don't get confused. What we're going to do is we're going to use some of this scrap paper that's left from earlier, and we're going to make a short hour hand and a long minute hand, okay? So the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to cut out a rectangle of paper like this, and I'm just kind of guesstimating here right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this rectangle up to my clock, and I'm going to look and see, okay, if I want my minute hand to be long, I'm going to want it to like point out towards the edge of the clock. I want it to be about this long. So watch how I'm going to do that. I'm just going to make a rectangle that is that long. Okay, now if you guys feel like being fancy, you can take your piece of paper and cut off a little triangle at the top so it looks more like an arrow, like that minute hand, okay? Now, since this is my long minute hand, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna color my minute hand the same color that I used to label the minutes on my clock. So this is going to be my long minute hand. And then I'm going to take the other piece of my rectangle and I'm going to make it shorter because it's going to be my hour hand, okay? So when I hold it up to this long one, I need this hour hand to be shorter. Okay, I'm going to do that same thing where I make a little triangle at the top. All right, so now I've got the hour hand is short, short, short. The minute hand is long. Okay. That's actually all that we're going to do for today. Tomorrow when you come back, keep this clock with you, okay? Keep one of these circular objects around because we're going to do some work tomorrow using this clock to make a schedule for what your day's going to look like. I'll see you back here tomorrow.